In the Indian jungle, where a tiger's roar used to be feared, an extraordinary story of courage and compassion was about to unfold. When a towering Bengal tiger began appearing daily at the gates of a military base, no one could have predicted the incredible challenge that was to come. This is not just a story of men and beasts, but a thrilling journey that will test the limits of human understanding and reveal the surprising power of empathy. Get ready for an adventure that will forever change the way you see the wild and the nature of courage. For the 20th morning in a row, the imposing Bengal tiger appeared at the base's gates, his amber eyes fixed on the men who watched him with a mixture of fascination and terror. "What does he want?" whispered the young recruit Arjun, his hands shaking slightly as he gripped his rifle. The fear in his voice was palpable, a reflection of the feeling that spread across the base like a thick, suffocating fog. Raj shook his head, unable to offer a comforting answer. For weeks, the feline had become a constant presence, walking along the fence with a purpose no one could decipher. His movements were deliberate, almost ritualistic, as if he were trying to communicate something that the men, in their limited understanding, could not understand. Fear spread through the camp like a contagious disease, sapping the troops' morale and challenging everything they had learned in training. The soldiers, trained to face human threats, found themselves completely unprepared to deal with this jungle predator that seemed to defy all the logic of animal behavior they knew. At night, gathered around an improvised fire, the soldiers shared increasingly far-fetched theories in an attempt to make sense of the inexplicable. "Maybe it's a jungle spirit," suggested Vikram, a soldier known for his superstition. "Or a warning from the gods," added another, his shaky voice revealing the fear he was trying to hide. Commander Singh watched these discussions with growing concern. For him, a man of science and logic, these speculations were nothing more than nonsense born of fear and ignorance. However, he could not deny the real impact the situation was having on his men. The base's efficiency was compromised. With soldiers exhausted from sleepless nights and nerves on edge, something needed to be done, and quickly. Singh spent sleepless nights pondering his options. He knew he couldn't just slaughter the animal. Not only would it be ethically questionable, but it could also have serious repercussions considering India's wildlife protection laws. It was during one of these sleepless nights that an idea began to form in his mind. If they couldn't understand the tiger's behavior themselves, perhaps they needed help from someone who could. With shaking hands, more from exhaustion than nervousness, Singh dialed the number of the nearest zoo. While waiting for someone to answer, Singh looked out the window of his office. Outside, the jungle was a dark, impenetrable mass, full of mysteries and dangers, but also of beauty and life. For a moment, he wondered if they weren't all, human and animal, trapped in a game of mutual incomprehension. The sound of a voice on the other end of the line interrupted his thoughts. "National Zoo, how can I help you?" Singh took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "This is Commander Singh from the Sundarbans military base. We have a tiger situation and urgently need expert help." As he explained the situation, Singh felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they were about to solve the mystery that had troubled their camp for so long. And with luck, they would find a solution that respected both the safety of their men and the life of the magnificent predator that had captivated and terrified them in equal measure. Dr. Amrita Patel never imagined that her doctorate in feline behavior would take her to a military base in the heart of the Indian jungle. When he received Commander Singh's call, his scientific curiosity was immediately piqued. A tiger that regularly visited a military base? This was something completely out of the ordinary, a behavioral puzzle that intrigued her and challenged everything she knew about these elusive felines. Upon arriving at the base, Amrita was greeted by tense faces and suspicious looks. The fear was palpable, hanging in the air like a thick fog. But where others saw only a threat, Amrita saw a fascinating mystery to be solved. "Let's observe first," she told the commander, her voice calm and steady, "before we draw any conclusions." For 2 days, Amrita studied the tiger's behavior meticulously. Armed with binoculars, a long-range camera, and years of experience, she observed every movement, every vocalization, every look of the imposing feline. She noticed how he always appeared at the same time, how his movements seemed more desperate than threatening. There was an urgency to his behavior that was not befitting a predator seeking prey. It was during these observations that a theory began to form in Amrita's mind. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, forming a picture that went against everything the soldiers had assumed until then. "He's not threatening us," she explained to the commander, her eyes shining with the excitement of discovery. "He's asking for help." The statement was met with disbelief and even some nervous laughter. The idea that an apex predator could seek human help seemed absurd to many. But Amrita was determined. With the commander's reluctant permission, she organized a team of volunteer soldiers to follow the tiger the next time it appeared. "We need to see where he goes," she insisted. "Only then can we understand what is really happening." The morning of the expedition dawned damp and foggy. The tiger appeared as usual, its roar echoing throughout the base. This time, however, instead of hiding, a small group of soldiers led by Amrita prepared to follow him. The journey through the jungle was arduous. The suffocating heat and dense vegetation tested everyone's resistance. Amrita led the group, her eyes attentive to every movement in the foliage, her ears tuned to the sounds of the forest. The soldiers followed her silently, a mixture of fear and curiosity on their faces. After hours of walking, the sound of running water reached his ears. They had arrived at the bank of a turbulent river, its waters swollen by recent monsoon rains. It was there, among the rocks on the shore, that the truth finally revealed itself. Trapped between the rocks, meowing desperately, were 2 tiger cubs. Realization struck everyone like a bolt of lightning. The tiger was actually a tigress, a desperate mother seeking help to save her cubs. Amrita's heart quickened with the discovery. She turned to the soldiers, her eyes shining with excitement. "See," she said softly, "she's not our enemy. She's a mother trying to save her children." With care and determination, the team worked to free the cubs. It was a delicate and dangerous process, with the river roaring beside her and the tigress watching anxiously from the opposite bank. But finally, after what seemed like hours, the puppies were rescued. The moment the family reunited was breathtaking. The tigress, once seen as a threat, now licked her cubs with a love so pure and universal that it touched the hearts of everyone present. It was a scene that transcended species barriers, a powerful demonstration of the bond between mother and child that everyone could understand and respect. As they watched the scene, Sergeant Raj turned to Amrita, his eyes moist with emotion. "We thought she was our enemy," he said softly, "but she only wanted what any mother would want." Amrita nodded, a gentle smile on her lips. "Sometimes," she replied, "all we need is to look beyond our fear to see the truth." That day, the soldiers returned to base not just as heroes, but as changed men. They had learned a valuable lesson about empathy, courage, and the interconnectedness of all creatures. The experience had changed them profoundly, challenging their perceptions and expanding their understanding of the natural world around them. And as the sun set over the Indian jungle, the distant roar of a tiger no longer inspired fear, but a deep respect for the majesty of nature and the power of mutual understanding. The military base, once a symbol of separation between man and nature, had become a meeting point, a place where barriers were broken down and new understanding blossomed.